Hello, my name is Sondra, and welcome to my channel From Lack to Legacy. On this channel, we're all things money, investing, and mindset, sprinkled in with a little travel every now and then. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time, please, as you're coming in, like, subscribe, share the channel, take a moment, share this with a friend, call a girlfriend up, tell us gonna be some good chatting going on over here. We're gonna be talking about some really hot topics. If you've been here before, you already know the drill. You know what to do. Hit any of the buttons, baby. We don't care. All of the buttons down there work. Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, thumbs down, it doesn't matter. All of it sends a message to YouTube, to the algorithm, that this content is valuable, that people are consuming it, and that they'll push it out to the right folks. So, yes, welcome. Let me just give you guys a little heads up. Oh, Marilyn is here. I was going to say Marilyn might not be here. Our moderator extraordinaire is in the house, Mara Love, affectionately known as a Mara Love. So Marilyn, thank you, sweet. We dropped all the links if you need them. If you need something, I got my phone right here. So y'all know how we get down. Y'all saw the topic. I've got two sisters with me tonight, and when I tell you all, I'm gonna give you just a little backstory. One of how Money After Dark even came to be, and what an honor it is for me to have these two ladies with me tonight. And I'm gonna tell you why. I thought of the concept of Money After Dark is maybe a year or so ago, and I wanted to do a panel interview. Really, it started out as just one or two interviews. I knew there were some people that I wanted to sit down and talk with. I didn't just want to talk with those women. I really wanted this to be a vehicle where I could give women their flowers and say, sis, I see you. I love what you're doing. And just connect with people that I respect, people that I admire. And so, true to that vision, that's what this has been. It's not been just a platform where I can share and get information out and disseminate good information, but it has also been a vehicle where I can say to women right to their face, virtually or not, that I love you, I love what you're doing, I see you, and I appreciate you. So if nobody else has said it to you, Kimberland, I absolutely adore you. I absolutely appreciate you. I love your voice. Kimberlyn is so fearless. I cannot wait for her to talk to you all tonight. I'm telling you, you're going to see the same thing that I saw. And then C-Temp and I have been together for so long. I tell you, when we started back in Mexico in my kitchen, C-Temp was a professional consummate trader back then. And I don't even know why she fooled with us, but she did. And she was always so generous with her expertise and her time and her knowledge. And so when I see people pour into me or pour into others like that, I want to acknowledge that, because all too often we let those kind of things just, oh, well, that's what they do. No, that's not what they do. They don't owe us anything. And so I want to thank you both for being with me tonight. I want to thank you in the spirit of which Money After Dark was created. Thank you for sharing your expertise. Thank you for being fabulous all the time. And I just want y'all to know I love you, and I'm glad you're here. So, with that out of the way, and that being said, let me introduce our two guests tonight. First of all, we have Kimberland, and I met Kimberland Jackson. I met Kimberland first in Mexico. And I knew instantly. I mean, I was sitting off on the sideline. Y'all know I'm an introvert, so I wasn't doing too much talking. But I was watching how Kimberland moved and how she talked. And I was like, oh my God, this is somebody, she got something to say. Not only does she have something to say, the way Kimberland speaks so fearlessly, it inspired me to go ahead and lean into my voice. So Kimberly, your light shines that way, that you inspire others. I was certainly inspired by our meeting. And C-Temp, I met, same thing. We met the first time we met up in Mexico. And it was just her generosity of spirit. It's like, oh my God, these are the women I want to be around. This is what I prayed for. This is the kind of company I want to be in. I always feel lifted when I'm in their presence and when I leave. That's a test for me. If I leave your presence and I feel drained, oh, we ain't gonna do that many times. We're not gonna do that. If you call me one or two times and we're not gonna do that. But if I leave your presence and I feel edified and I feel uplifted and I feel motivated and inspired, those are the kind of women I like to gather around. So I'm going to let the ladies introduce themselves and give you, because I never like to do the intro job, because inevitably I'm going to leave something out. I'm not going to get to the good. So I want to let you do that. I want you to, we'll go to Kimberland first and then we'll come to C-Temp. Well, you all know C-Temp's real name is Canissia. That's her government name. But I call her C-Temp. So she's affectionately known as C-Temp. So I'll let the ladies introduce themselves and then we're going to jump right into the topic. They both spent considerable time in Colombia. Kimberlyn is currently in Colombia,
I
and C-Temp,
am.
yeah, C-Temp's away for a little bit, but she's been there. She's a long-term resident, has been there a while. So these two ladies will be the people that you need to talk to if you're thinking about or considering a sabbatical, a slow bop, any of that stuff, anytime in Colombia. These are the ladies you want to talk to. So I'm done. Kimberly,
So,
take it.
hey, y'all, thank you for having me on. This is so funny because I remember when you started your page, and I've just been watching it grow, and I'm just so excited to be here because I've been like, oh my gosh, girl, you doing it. So, thank you for giving me my flowers, but also here are yours because you really have built a community over here of folks that are committed to discovering how to change their lives. So I'm really excited to be here. So, hey y'all, my name is Kimberland, and like Sondra said, we met in Playa del Carmen, and it was at the very beginning of my journey. Playa del Carmen was the first place that I landed in October of 2021, and Sondra, we probably met, I don't know, maybe within a couple weeks of me being in Playa. And the same thing, I was like, man, she has such a warm spirit and she seems kind of cool. Like, let me see. And my spirit was just very open to connect. And then we reconnected in Mexico City. And I was just like, okay, she's cool people, right? So I am an intuitive melanated life coach. And what I do is I help people connect their basically your body, connect back to your body and connect to your spirit so that you are really able to hear the messages that God is giving to you. So I help my clients develop deep personal relationships with God so that you know when God is speaking, and you can know without a shadow of a doubt, like, this is God's voice leading me and guiding me. I've worked in education my entire life, so I'm taking all of that and kind of packaging that into what I do. I'm also a podcaster. So I have three podcasts, I think, right now. But always, I'm like a serial podcaster because there's always something to talk about. There's another topic that you got to get on, right? So that's my thing. And I love helping people to find their voice. I really feel like that is my specialty in helping people to find their voice and use your story to really acknowledge what you've been through, but also to help others along the way because we're all on a journey and everybody's at a different place in their journey. So that's a little bit about me, and I'll jump into the other things after the things. So.
Oh, we'll get to the good, good. Don't doubt it. Don't doubt it at all.
Yes.
Just give us a
Yes.
little
Hello,
intro.
everyone. And thank you so much, Sondra. It really means a lot that you would call on me to speak about my time in Colombia. I feel like for me, I always say like I'm just living my life. I'm just out here. But then people say like, "Oh, you live abroad. You're a single mother, you're working, you're a digital nomad." And I just thought it was normal stuff. So if I can help someone else get on the same path, then I am more than happy to do that. So you guys may know me as C-Temp. I am also the trading Niji or the dynamic Niji because I have a lot of things going on. And since about 2018, 2017, I've been teaching ESL um, remotely. So I think that's like the biggest difference is I don't do it with the institution. I do it for myself. And I'm also a freelance educator as well for English. I homeschool my daughter. I traveled, I bopped around Colombia this past year on a bus. So I have like a lot of experience in Colombia, and it's my favorite, absolute favorite country in the world so far. And what was supposed to be a digital nomad endeavor just turned into me living in Colombia. pretty much, because it's my favorite place. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have about becoming a freelancer, or maybe not teaching English, but just teaching online, and then also living and traveling through Colombia.
Thank you, sister. So you all know where we're going with this because so many of us are interested in leaving the US. That was the case for me. My story is pretty similar to these ladies. There came a time where I was like, okay, you know what? This has been great and I appreciate everything I learned here, but it's time to go. It was time for me to get to another level, another atmosphere, just another space. And so I find it interesting how people get from that place to where they are. And so I want the ladies to share. So I'm just going to start out right, real basic. Why Colombia? Because I know Kimberland and I started out in Mexico, but we both inevitably left Mexico. I love Mexico, don't get me wrong, but I didn't feel that it was my forever place. So, Kimberland, why Colombia?
So interestingly enough, Colombia is where I decided to leave the US, and Colombia was always supposed to be where I was supposed to go. So I took a trip. So I'm gonna try to put as much cliff note on this as I can because it's hours of stuff over on my page that's talking about the details of this. But I told you I worked in education. So I was working with an organization called Chester County Intermediate Unit, and it was in Pennsylvania on behalf of Pennsylvania Department of Education. The most toxic environment I've ever been in my entire life. Racism, 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 racism. Okay. And it broke my spirit to be behind the scenes, seeing how committed people were to our children failing. So, in that process, I wound up being diagnosed with depression, anxiety, PTSD, put on medication, like it was a whole thing. In that time, I had a friend in about April of 2021, and this is during COVID. I'm in Pennsylvania, it's cold. Okay. We were working remotely, so I'm at my house, all the time. And they were like, why don't you take a trip to Medellin? Medellin is the place for me where this friend was saying that where they go to reconnect and all that. Why don't you try? I had just turned 40 in that February, and I wanted to do something to scare myself. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go because I trusted that my friend, if something happened, they was gonna be able to get to me, right? So I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna check this out. And it was the first time taking that trip here was the first time that I ever got a chance to just be. This was at a time where my mind was going 24/7, and it was just a lot. It was a lot of pressure. And I was able to just be while I was here. And while I was here, I went on a tour, and there were three other Black women that were on the tour. Two of them turned out to be my sorority sisters. So I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Ooh, my sorors. But two of them were sorority sisters, and they were about 10 years younger than me. So on the tour, they were talking about how they were living in Colombia. And I was like, how y'all do that? So they were like, girl, you got a passport, pack your shit and leave. Like, why are you there? Like, what you're holding on to? And I was like, I do not know. I don't have any idea why. Because the only thing I liked about Harrisburg was the river, the farmer's market, and my loft. Like that was
Oh,
it.
and that's not enough.
That's not enough, right? So on that trip, on that tour, I said, I'm going to leave. I'm going to pack my things and I'm going to leave. So I made the decision in April of 2021. I didn't leave until October. But it was because I felt something different here. And by that time in my life, I knew that the way that God speaks to me is through how I feel in my body. And peace is what I'm constantly seeking. So it was peace that I felt here. The only reason I wound up in Mexico is because the COVID numbers had risen. So when the COVID numbers rose, I needed to go somewhere else. And then I said, Spanish is the only little piece of a language that I have. So let me go on over there to apply it and see what they talking about. But clearly I went there to meet you, ma'am. So
Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
amen. Amen. So that's why Colombia for me.
And C-Temp, how did you wind up in Colombia? Because see, I thought you had gone to Mexico first too, but you started out in Colombia.
That was my first place, and I have to preface this because when I just say it, it sounds crazy. So I grew up in a military family. So my grandfather was in the military. My dad grew up in the Philippines and France, and all my cousins traveled. And I was so jealous. Like, I was just stuck in Wichita the whole time, and they would come back with their magazines from Japan and Germany. And I was just really just amazed at that. I just thought it was so cool. But my dad was at Air Force Reserve and then also the Navy. So we just stayed in Wichita. And one day, it was probably 2 years after I had my daughter, and I was just thinking, like, I don't know myself anymore. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I come from a biologist background, but I was working in accounting and in the lab. So it was just a really weird place. So one day I was like, okay, I need to lower my cost of living. So I was like, okay, I'm going to move out the country. So my cousin comes on one holiday, maybe Christmas, and I'm like, I'm moving out the country. And he says, I'm moving out the country too. So a year we get ourselves together. I tell him, I need to figure out how to make money, and I need to figure out where I'm going to go. So a year later, I buy my tickets. I tell my job that I'm leaving, and I call him. I'm like, hey, do you remember that conversation we had a year ago? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to Nicaragua. And he said, well, don't go to Nicaragua yet, but just get a ticket, change your ticket to Medellin. So that's what I did. And I just showed up, and the rest of it was really good because he had already been there. He was established. He really just showed me around the city, and more importantly, how to move in like international streets because he had that background from his childhood. So that's how I ended up in Medellin. He just said, this is where you need to be. And I remember being on the phone at work, and I'm telling her, it's called Medellin. And the two L's, the lady's like, I don't see that place on here. Like, I didn't Google it until after I changed my ticket, and it all worked out. And I'm just glad I trusted him, because it was probably one of the best decisions of my life.
But doesn't it happen like that sometimes? I am telling you, we did a live recently about, how to get out of the US quickly, or as quickly as possible, that's safe. And one of the first things that we tackled was, so many of us are still in places that don't serve us because of the fear. It's the fear of moving, the fear of losing. I don't know what's on the other side. It's all of those things. But sometimes you just got to pull the trigger. Sometimes you just got to go. And so I know that when we talk about Colombia, as with Mexico, the U.S. has done a great job. They got a great PR team on how unsafe the rest of the world is. Now, y'all, I've been to these places. I never felt more unsafe than when I was sitting in my own living room in Chicago. Now, I've been all over, and I just don't meet that. I don't see the danger. Not that these places aren't dangerous, but I want you to speak to women, somebody who may have never been to Colombia, who may never have been to Mexico. Let's talk about those safety concerns. Let's get it right out front. I can tell you right now, I felt totally safe in Playa del Carmen. I could walk. I didn't have any problems. The police were friendly. People were warm and friendly. Even when I lost things, my things were returned to me. I had some things happen, but it had nothing to do with my personal safety. Kimberland, what would you say to somebody who's thinking, well, you know what they say about Colombia? What
Well,
would
you
you
know
say?
what's so interesting when you said you felt safe in Playa? I did not.
You did?
I did not. Those gigantic guns in Playa del Carmen were very, very disarming for me. And
Yeah.
it made me feel like I needed to be paying attention to something, because why we got these big old guns. I did not like Playa del Carmen at all. That's why I was only there for 3 months.
What?
Um, so it's interesting. I think the concept of safety is very much personal, of
Yeah.
what makes you feel safe and what you feel prepared for when it comes to safety. Those police officers there didn't ever make me feel like I could approach them to get assistance, because they might gun me down. Whereas, for instance, when I left Playa del Carmen, I went to Mexico City. I loved it in Mexico City,
Yeah.
and I never felt threatened by the police. And not that the police were being threatening in Playa del Carmen, but coming from a place like the United States of America, where
Yes.
guns are a thing, I don't want to see big old machine guns. Because why is
Yeah.
we going to war? I don't understand,
Yeah.
right?
Even
Um,
that militarized way with the face covering and
I don't
everything could
want
be a
it.
bit jarring.
No, thank
Yeah.
you. I don't want
Yeah.
any piece of
But
it. So
it
that's
made me feel
that's
the
one of the
opposite
reasons
though.
why I left so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. I remember that whole first time seeing them on those military vehicles with the
Uh-huh.
face covered. But girl, one time one lifted up his glasses and winked. I was like, oh,
I wasn't even looking long
okay.
enough for him to wink. Okay, like that was a
Yeah,
lot for me. That was really
yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
But safety, one, I think we need to realize is subjective, and that means different things to different people, right? So you got
Yeah,
to ask yourself, what does safety look like to you? I'm from New
yeah.
Orleans. So I'm from New Orleans. I have a lot of
Hello.
experience with being aware of things
Yeah,
and people and such and whatever, right?
yeah.
And I'm not new to being places by myself. So when I graduated from college, I moved to Tampa and built a life there. And like, so I'm not a stranger to being somewhere and depending on my own good sense to keep me safe, right? And I think if you have good sense, then you're gonna be all right.
Mhm.
As far as safety in Colombia, I think that you hit the nail on the head about the propaganda that comes from the U.S. And I'm gonna just call the thing, and I hope that's what we do here is called things, because it's propaganda.
Mhm.
One of the reasons that when I was in Mexico, one of the reasons I chose Mexico after I told you the COVID numbers rose and I had to go somewhere else besides Colombia is I said to myself, how is Mexico our downstairs neighbor, like right next to us? And we don't know anything except for this fear mongering that is happening. I really feel like that's probably not what's happening. And getting to Mexico and seeing how kind the people were and how helpful. When I tell, let me explain to y'all how helpful the people are. Okay, so I told you I was in Playa del Carmen for 3 months, and then I was like, I don't. First of all, I don't like the beach. Okay, I didn't like the guns. Like I don't. It was hot as hell. Okay, I don't.
And
I don't
humid,
want. I don't
and
want none
humid.
of that. I'm straight. So I said, I'm going to move to Mexico City because that's where I wanted to go in the first place. So I put myself on a bus 21 hours across Mexico to get to Mexico City by myself. And I did that because I wanted to see what it was like to be a regular, like Mexican, like how would a regular Mexican travel if they needed to and they didn't get on a plane. But that trip taught me how willing they were to make sure I was okay. I mean,
Mhm.
the guy at the bus station handed me off to the bus driver. Every time we stopped somewhere, he was like, La Ciudad de Mexico. And I was like, see, because my Spanish wasn't that good at the time. But they made sure I got to Mexico City. That every time that I thought I was getting kidnapped, and as my cousin would say, burglared, they was helping me. They were helping me. And they were people in both of these countries, in Mexico and Colombia, are very much willing to put themselves at an inconvenience to help you. And I came with this open mind of learning the people and discovering who the people are, right? So when you're talking about safety, a part of it is being able to feel and sense energy and use your discernment, right? And I don't know if I'm speaking okay, C-Temp, I see you shaking your head. Okay. You got to be able to use your discernment and just be wise in your choices. It really is. I hate to like minimize it to say it's common sense, but if especially if you're living in the US, let me tell you, you're fine. Okay, you're fine.
Trust.
Also, if you are of the melanated complexion and such, they're not looking for you. Okay, so it's like we're fine. We are so
And
fine.
that whole thing with the cartel just wears me out. That whole thing with the cartel and the cartel this and the cartel that. I didn't look, I ain't got no business with the cartel. The cartel ain't looking for me. I did not even in Kimberland, I definitely understand what you're talking about, those big guns. Baby, when they jumped off that first time, I was like, yeah, okay, this is different. But I think over time, I got used to it. That didn't bother me as much because I kind of realized that's some of my leftover stuff from the US.
Hmm.
I'm, we're definitely, I was anyway, afraid of the police. I mean, nobody wants to say that out loud, but you are. You bring that
But you know
fear
what?
with
I didn't grow
you.
up afraid of the police. I
I
grew up
did.
in New Orleans and the police were like homeboys. Like I never had a fear of the police. I will call the police. You understand me?
Mhm.
What you said about it being from the US, the issue for me was the guns. What are we
Yeah.
preparing for, right? My
Mhm.
cousin just got here to Medellin on Monday and they had a fireworks display because Medellin is good for the fireworks. Honey, it's one of my favorite things about the city. So I was like, "Oh, girl, they gave you your introductory fireworks display." And she was like, "Well, at first, I wasn't quite sure." And I said, "It's never bullets. It's never
Okay.
bullets."
But
And
depending
just
on where
being
you come from, that could be your first thought.
Oh,
It's so
it
true.
will be.
You
It
hear it.
will
Yes.
be, especially if you come from the
Yes.
US. But
Mhm.
even being able, like she told me, she was like the sense of safety that that gave her in her spirit to say that's never bullets. When I hear something that sounds like fireworks, I go running because I want to see the fireworks. I'm not wondering if I have to hide behind something or is something popping off. Like I'm just not. So it is a lot of trauma that we have to unpack, but as far as being prepared for it, I think that we are prepared for it. What we're not prepared for is the fact that it's not as dangerous as they told us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna pause there. Go ahead, C-Temp girl, jump in here because you done been in
Mhm.
here
So,
too.
okay, let me just ask this because I want to give some context to this. Kimberly, how long have you been in Colombia? When did you first
So
go?
I moved here in December of 2022.
Okay. So that's a
So
decent.
coming up on 2 years.
And see, Tim, how long was your time there? Because I know you had some extensive time there too.
Yeah, about 2018. I think I got my first teaching contract 2017, mid 2017. So it was pre, during, and post COVID
Hmm.
C-19.
You did. So
C-19.
how did you feel in terms of your personal safety? What was your perception? What were you greeted with? Any differences than the way
Oh,
you interacted in the States?
it was all love. Like I just really enjoyed Colombia, especially with my daughter. Like I never had any problems. Now, I did purchase a Google Fi phone because they will snatch your phone up. But that's, pickpocketing is common in Europe and other places. So just make
Mhm.
sure that you keep a mindful eye of your bags. And it's not really a place where you can just whip out your laptop and start, typing on it. You definitely want to be aware of your surroundings. But other than that, I found the people to be very, very helpful, especially towards women, children, and the elderly. So they have a very deep respect for them and they don't play any games about it. So I thought I love Colombia. They open doors, they carry bags. They're just very kind. They'll let you go ahead of them. There's a separate line for children or pregnant women. I just feel like it's a great place to live.
Yeah. Did y'all find anything challenging? I mean, anytime you go from one place to another, there are going to be some challenges. Kimberly said, I hope, is this a place where we speak truth? Child, this is a place where we speak the whole truth. The whole thing.
I just be making sure I'm in the right place, you know.
No, ma'am. What's the point? And see, I think we've all seen all the glossy Instagram photos and we've seen we've seen all of that. And that's one aspect of travel. That's one aspect of living abroad. But the truth is, you all, it does me no good to come on here and further that agenda. That is right. I have had a wonderful transition. It's been all good. I wouldn't go back to the US. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there are some challenges. So, can you all speak to some of the challenges that you have had making this transition from the US to just living abroad, period? Any challenges for you? And if there are none, then there aren't any. But has there been anything that you found challenging?
Go ahead, C-Temp.
The bureaucracy, the language barrier, the culture. Like if you have issues with sound, they pop fireworks on the regular. You might see just one of those balloons floating up in the air 6:30 in the morning popping fireworks for no reason, or it's the holiday season and they like to do that all day and all night. So I would just say that those things bother me. And then the paisa look is like the straight long black hair. So the hair, I mean, I would have an apartment in my balcony, I would like leave the door cracked and there would just be random hair in my house.
Ah,
That is a
mhm.
pet peeve of mine because we know what my hair looks like. This is not my hair. So that was an issue for me. And the food. So the food is very fresh, but they don't like spicy food, and I'm a spicy food lover. So
Yeah.
I love the variety of fruits that they had, the fact that somebody's grandma was in the back cooking it. But as far as like variety of spices, why they keep putting corn on my pizza, like those types of things are like issues for me personally, but you find your way around it.
Mhm.
That's funny you say that. The spices, I'm from New Orleans, so
Yes.
I be cooking
Could
at
you
home.
all could y'all
I
tell
was
from
like,
Kimberland's can you tell when she talks? I knew instantly she was from New Orleans. I spent some time in New Orleans. Instantly. So we know you like good food, sis. How has it been?
Yeah,
Because
I
I've
cook at
heard
my
mixed things
house.
about the food. Yeah.
I cook at my house. I and I'm also in a place where I don't mind eating the same thing. So if I do order out, I usually I also don't eat meat. So I am pescatarian. So fish and shrimp is primarily what I eat, various types of fish, and then beans and all of that, right? So the bandeja paisa is the like cultural dish, and it's a whole bunch of meat, right? So I don't eat that, therefore I don't have that. But I'll have some fried tilapia, rice, salad, and almost every meal comes with salad, soup. It's plenty of food. Like whatever you're getting, it's gonna be plenty. But I do my best to cook at home because um the spices. It's fresh, but
Mhm.
it's you gonna have to carry hot sauce in your bag and such, you know.
So bring your
But
Lari seasoned salt with you. Bring your Old Bay spice. Bring all your. Okay,
I
say less.
definitely would recommend that because this is the other thing is you can't ship it.
Mm.
So you've got to have somebody bring it to you or bring it in your bags, right? So do stock up on your favorite spices if that's the thing for you. The other cultural differences, I think, interesting for me, I had to navigate one that might be kind of unique. But what I did not realize when I started learning Spanish is that Spanish is different in different countries. So I had started learning Spanish in Mexico. And then when I moved to Colombia, it was like that word don't mean that. Oh, let me start. The accents are completely different. Like it was so it that was an adjustment to get wrap my brain around what are you saying. And then the paisa accent versus those from the coast are different. So it'd be a lot of navigation, right? So you got to be patient with your brain and allow
Mhm.
your brain to have a moment to process like what's going on and what you are hearing. So that was definitely another thing for me. Now I don't know if we're going to get into this later, but I'm gonna definitely say cultural differences as far as dating and like expectations of people is extremely different.
Girl, that's a whole nother thing. Because we're gonna give that some
Extreme.
plenty of time. We won't talk about that
Okay,
one.
we
I
gonna
want
come
yeah,
back to
we
that.
gonna
So put that on the
yes,
parking lot,
yes. We're
okay?
gonna circle back to the dating part because you know everybody wants to know. Everybody
Put
wants to
that
know.
put that on the parking lot, so I come back to that then. Anything as far as anything else, I feel like and I don't know, this might be unique to me, but I'm not really tied to brands and like all that kind of stuff. Sometimes people struggle with not having access to familiar brands and things that you might have had at home. One of the things that I consistently remind myself of is that people are doing life in every single country, and there is probably something comparable in that country. So explore what the country has outside of hair products. That's probably the only place where it becomes like I know what works. But I think if you come with an open mind and an open spirit to learn and really observe and just kind of take it in for what it is and not try to look at it through a lens of I do this in the US and this is different, but under or whatever country, but I am in this country and this is how they live type of thing. And if you can look at it that way, then it's more of a learning experience as opposed to it being so shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you touched on all the good. We might as well go right to the next logical question because you know every black woman in the chat wants to know, well, what am I doing with my hair? What about hair care products? Is that something I'm gonna need to put in my bag too? Because I'm coming that way and I need to know. So I'm here just look, not only am I moderating, girl, I am taking notes. Do I need to bring all of my hair care products too? Because I'm so sick of lugging a whole bag of conditioner, shea butter, the whole shebangity boodle. So am I gonna have to do the same, or are those products readily available in
They're
Colombia?
around.
Mhm.
They're around. Not maybe not brands that you're familiar with.
Hmm.
But there are some brands that you're familiar with, but they might cost a lot because of the taxes and the
Yeah.
import fees and all of that kind of stuff. One thing I could say that's going to be real easy for you to find in Colombia is a place to get your hair braided.
Oh well, okay. That's
Okay.
helpful.
Mhm.
So that's real easy and it's also very inexpensive. I do not have a stylist here. I don't know, C-Temp, did you have someone that you would go to get your hair done?
No, I've always done my own hair, but on the product side of it, I usually just use a good oil. I get that at a health food store and then a gel. So those were easy to find. And then also for conditioner, anything like Brazilian, they have a lot of Brazilian products down there and they start like Scala, SKALL, SKALA, and they sell like really good hair products for Black women. So if anything Brazilian, I also did a keratin treatment at home. So they sell like really good salon products. You
Mhm.
just have to either speak the language or really know what you're looking for.
Okay, I'm gonna take this question from the chat. It says, "Are there folks who can retighten your locks in
Yes.
Colombia?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There
Mhm.
are there are plenty of black people in Colombia. So it's not, for instance, in comparison, Mexico, it was few and far between. Colombia, there are lots of people with curly hair, Afro Colombians, they're all over the place. And yes, there are people who can do locks for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, and I saw somebody ask a question about where are you all fellowshipping like, and that's one of my questions too. Building community there and getting connected because I know that that's been critical for me. You can
Mhm.
go to beautiful places, but if you don't feel a sense of belonging, or at least where you can get in and not feel like you're there in isolation, how has that been for you, C-Temp?
Oh, it is so funny because when I first got here, I had an apartment. My cousin lived in Medellin, and I stayed in Sabaneta. So it's about on a good day, it's about 15 minutes away, up to an hour on a bad day. But in my building, the American Veterans Affairs had an office at the bottom of my building in Sabaneta. So I was able to just, take my daughter to school and run into Black people. So it was beautiful how it worked out. They also have a health center in that building and it was perfect. So I really got connected just from just seeing someone. I think he was waving, and waving is very American. So I was like, hold on, let me go talk to this Black man. So I went to talk to him, and his name was Danilo, and he does the Veterans Affairs in Colombia, in Medellin, and now Pereira. So
Wow.
that's how I got connected with other Black people. Yeah.
Let me just stop right here and insert this. I just put up on the screen. Canissia has a travel guide to Colombia. So while it's flashing here on the screen, all of these links for the ladies, all of their social media contacts, all of their links, everything that they're doing is in the description of this video. Not only is it in the description, but we've also placed these links in the chat so that they're active live links that you can click on and go to any of their social media and connect with any of their products or projects that they're working on. So I just wanted to insert that. Um, so how was it for you, Kimberland?
So I was about to say, so let me tell y'all how you get plugged in to the community. Okay. So you start on Facebook. And I know a lot of people are not necessarily on Facebook anymore. Well, people our age are on Facebook, but the young people not there. But Facebook has groups. So what you want to do is you want to look for your Black, and Sondra, you did a video about this. I feel like you want to look for your Black expat groups, Black expats in Colombia, Black women, Colombia, brothers and sisters, Colombia, Medellin, like all the things. Then from there, what you do? is you introduce yourself, right? You put your nice little picture, and then you try to get into the WhatsApp group because that's where the magic lives.
Tell
Okay.
me.
So once you get to the WhatsApp group, then that's when it's like, okay, sis, where are the things? What's the such, the souls, and the hows? Matter of fact, I told you my cousin just got here on Monday, and she was looking for a barber. So I was like, oh well, let me look in the groups and let me see or whatever. So I sent her a couple recommendations. Girl, the barber came today. He fine, fine, honey. I was like, man, that was a good
Do not start.
recommendation. But also he did a really good job on her hair. But that is like the place. So you're someone, you have kids and you're wondering what that transition is like, right? Get into the group
Mm,
and ask, hey, I'm coming, this is my situation, blah blah blah. People will connect with you offline. One thing I can say about those of us who have chosen to leave the US and are choosing to build lives elsewhere, the community is very helpful. We remember what it was like to be in this place of trying to figure this out. So many times somebody is going to give you some type of guidance, connection, what have you, whatever. Most of my friends here in Medellin are Colombian. And I did that on purpose. I do not hang out in areas with people from the United States on purpose. I don't live around people from the United States. So even earlier when C-Temp was saying like, you got to be careful with your laptop, blah, blah, blah. I don't go to those areas. I'm in areas where there are families and I know my neighbors and people are looking out for each other. So you also have to make a decision about what that's going to look like for you. Because if you're going to an area that is known for expats and known for gringos and known for people from the US, also know that they expect that you have money and they're going to be over there looking to see what they could get. Right.
mhm,
So I intentionally live outside of touristy areas in regular Colombian neighborhoods. I'm learning Spanish. So I tell them I'm learning Spanish. And when you say that, everybody wants to learn English. Oh, well, we can trade and we can, okay, great, whatever.
yeah.
So I start to collect a community of people. Let me give you another end of how you can find people on that good Bumble and them dating apps. Get in there, right? And just say
Come
that you
on with
looking
it.
for,
Come on with it. Tell,
I'm
tell,
trying to
tell.
say this is
You
what I've
know
done
we
because
telling
Sandra,
about it.
but listen, Sandra, this is how I found you because I was on Bumble in Playa del Carmen. I connected with this guy who was like, do you know Desiree? I didn't know who Desiree was. He was like, you need to talk to Desiree. Talk to Desiree. Desiree invites me out to brunch. Then later on that day, I'm on the rooftop meeting you. I ain't never talked to that
Yes.
man again in my life.
See,
But
he was an
people have
angel.
connections. So what I
Yes.
do is I get in there and I talk to people. I done met a
Tell it.
forest engineer, I've met professors, I've met
Yep.
doctors, I've met all types of people from all walks of life.
Yep.
And I just make it very clear that I'm not really looking for a relationship per se. I'm looking to meet people and I'm looking to connect and find people who are interesting. And from that, that allows me to be able to really expand my network because my goal is to get into the Colombian community. I don't want to be separate and, living in my USA bubble where people not even speaking Spanish and all of that. So there's intentionality in making sure that you are choosing where you're putting your energy and the places that you choose to go and all of that. I'm not about to be down in Poblado and Laureles. I don't be trying to go over there because that's where all the tourists at. I don't want it. Y'all got it. Y'all
Girl,
can have
I'm making notes. Don't be at the where. 'Cause you know, say less, say less. But look, you tapped it. You are hitting it. Everybody knows that the network is where it's at, y'all, because everybody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows
correct.
somebody. So you don't have to know it all. You don't even have to go in and attend all the social events. You just need to open your mouth and say, listen, I'm here. This is what I need. Start the conversation.
Yep.
So y'all better download them dating apps before y'all get there. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because I swear to you, everybody asks me this. Are you dating? How's the dating scene? Now, first of all, y'all know. Okay, I
So
gotta be.
wait, I see the question on the screen. I do want to grab that right
Oh yeah,
quick.
yeah,
And that's my aunt. Thank you for watching. Thank you.
yeah.
About
Healthcare.
healthcare in Colombia. So interestingly enough, I'm actually dating a doctor right now, and he was talking about the healthcare system is actually shifting into a public owned healthcare system. So right now there are a lot of unknowns in how to answer that question. But one thing I could tell you is that in order to live here and in order to have a digital nomad visa, which is one of the visas that you would be able to apply for, you have to have global healthcare coverage. What I can say is that healthcare in almost any of these countries are going to be as is going to be way more accessible than it is in the US. The barrier of entry is not as high, and even to get prescriptions, a lot of times
Mm, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Packing bags. What's it? Googling medicine. Flights to medicine. Baby, say less. Because
y'all
okay,
making me not
we
with
gonna get
focus.
to the dating part, but y'all gotta know I'm over here in Asia. Y'all, they about this big. I'm like, man, I'm bigger than you. I'm only 5'4". It has not been fun. That's why I cannot wait to get to the other side of the world. That's one of the reasons I want to come. Because Lord Jesus, could he at least be 5'9"? Could he at least weigh 175 pounds? You know, it ain't a lot I could do with you if I could put you in my purse.
Yeah.
I'm just
It's
saying.
it's a variety. It's a
But
variety
anyway,
going on
I'm
over here. All
sorry,
right.
sis.
So
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say that
Sorry.
though, that healthcare is going to be much more accessible. You don't really need prescriptions for as many things. Like in the US, you need a prescription for everything. In a country like Colombia, you can order from the pharmacy and they deliver it to your door for most things,
Yeah.
unless it's a controlled substance and all that kind of stuff. But there are also a lot of things that are changing. That's why I mentioned the doctor. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, all right, all right.
Mhm.
So
So
has any C-Temp, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you want to say something else?
no, I was just about to say, okay, so you was about to shift into dating. So I
No,
wanted
no,
to
no.
get back. Okay.
I'm gonna run back to C10 real quick
Okay.
on this healthcare thing because I think because she has a baby with her, her daughter with her. Have you guys had to go to the doctor? What's that experience been like for you guys? Because I know every place I've gone, it's just as easy as Kimberland said. Most often, I walk right into the pharmacy and ask for what I want. I basically tell them if there's a doctor there, he'll see me. I'm in and out, and it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. So, see, Tim, how has your experience been in terms of healthcare?
Yeah, like she said, we do have to have one a healthcare plan when you are getting your residency. As a tourist, it's up to your discretion. Um, I haven't had any issues, but we don't have any pre-existing conditions, and we're more holistic. So as a biologist, I'm like, you just need to rub a little bit of time on that. You'll be okay. So I feel like as far as like the holistic side, I did meet a lot of people who were able to do those type of alternative therapies, and they were very affordable. The most I ever had to do was get a filling, and the anesthesia, the whole procedure, and then like the porcelain veneer was $30. So
Okay.
it's a place where you can pay out of pocket. When we did have a Sora healthcare plan for me and my daughter for 1 month, it was $63. So it was roughly like $40 for me and then 20 for her. But I never knew what it covered because I didn't need to use it. So I don't
And
have.
I have Genki
Mhm.
insurance. It's like GENKHI maybe. This is not sponsored. But it's like 50 something dollars a month or
Mhm.
something like that. But if y'all are looking for places to start with searching for insurance.
So, pretty easy getting around the whole health insurance thing and healthcare. So, I heard you say if you're thinking of spending some real time in Colombia, let's just go on and transition into the visa requirement. So, let's say you're sitting in the US, you want to come for a slow bob, you want to do a sabbatical. What do people need to know? Is it visa on arrival? Do you need to apply for a visa before you get ready to come to Colombia? How long does it allow you to stay? Just give me an overview and anybody can jump in and take that. And then let me say this. Tamika had a question. Tamika, I can't find your question. Can you drop it in the chat again and I'll make sure we get to it? Anybody? Visa stuff.
So I'll jump in. So yes, you get a visa on arrival. With a U.S. passport, you get 90 days. Nothing is required to do ahead of time, and is also free of cost. They may ask you for a return flight or an exit flight. There are ways around that as well. Message me if you want to know that. But you can also then extend that 90 days to 180 days. So the rule in Colombia is that you get 180 days per calendar year. So what a lot of people do is they will come at the second half of the year. So for instance, come July through December, leave end of December, come back January, new calendar year, stay January to June. So you can stay for a whole year that way without ever having to file for any type of official visa, if you will. Then, as far as the digital nomad visa, with the digital nomad visa, you have to show that you are receiving income from outside the country. When I did it, I want to say it was like $700 a month. Now it might be like $1,100 a month, and I'm talking US. So the equivalent of $1,100 per month. You have to have your health insurance, and it's one other thing I can't remember right now. But it's not a very high bar of entry, especially because with the digital nomad visa, they are looking to get people here with that visa, and extending those requirements to make it as, I hate to use the word easy, but as easy as possible for you to be able to acquire that digital nomad visa. So I'm going to look and see if I could find the actual numbers right now while we're sitting here, and then I'll jump in if we do.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that a lot of the problems they were having with the digital nomad visa is that it's up to 2 years, and a lot of the applicants were getting like 6 months. So it's not like a black and white type of visa where you're guaranteed a certain amount of time. So you may have to weigh that also. If you're able to do the paperwork in Spanish, if you know Spanish that well, it's a lot cheaper because you don't know. You may pay a lawyer $300 and still only get 6 months. So
And
I,
I'm sorry. I want to say I heard that a part of what was happening with that is it lasts as long as your health insurance lasts.
oh,
So
so
I heard that some people weren't getting like a year or 2 years on their health insurance. So it was expiring at that time. I wound up getting 1 year. Even though I feel like I should have got two, but I wound up getting 1 year. So I'm not sure what the nuances are of
right.
it, but it is
That's
there. It's
that's it. We
available.
don't know. It's just like
Yes.
how they're feeling that day. So
And it is, so the best place to look, y'all, to be able to find
Mhm.
out that type of stuff is on their government website, because it changes, right, as
Mhm.
they update their policies and whatever. So that's always going to be the place to get the most updated information about what they require. I did go the route of using an attorney, and I want to say it wasn't a lot, it was maybe $150, but for me, that saved my brain cells from trying to figure out and all that kind of stuff, and it was worth it. A lot of
Mhm.
people do it on their own. Some people are successful, some people are not. So for me, I didn't want to take the chance. I was like, I want to make sure that we get this done and taken care of. But it was a very simple process outside of that. I really just had to go and take a picture and answer questions. And, we do the best we can. Hello, Google Translate. Thank you so much for your service. All right.
I'm with you on the attorney though, especially if
Mhm.
it's someplace I haven't been before. Like if I went back to Mexico, I feel reasonably safe and that I could do that. I've done it before. But on my first time coming to Colombia, I would probably do the same thing. Really quickly, Global Granny wants to know, where do you guys live? And what area are you all in Colombia?
Girl, Sabaneta, Medellin had me in a headlock. I mean, years.
You
I was
like
there for years.
Sabaneta?
I
Where
love Sabaneta.
were you near the park?
I was in Pasaje Bombay, which is right
Okay.
by the park when you go around that corner to the Broski Chicken,
Uh-huh.
right over there. So I,
It
I
was
had
two
an outlook
lines
on
over
it was
there.
nice. Yeah. So after that, this past year, I was bopping. So me and my daughter, we would just get on the bus and but our favorite place was absolutely We didn't think we would like Bogota, but we
Really?
Love, love, love Bogota. We've been to San Andres, we've been to Santa Marta, all over. But Bogota is top for us.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I went to Bogota for a trip. I had to go through. It's cold. I don't like it.
Like,
I was like, it is too cold. I don't want to do this at all. So I live in Medellin. I actually live in La Estrella, which is south of the city. So La Estrella is the last stop on the metro, and Medellin is kind of in the middle, and then there's north of Medellin. So I live in the south of the city. I also lived in Sabaneta, but it was around Christmas time. So
mhm.
anybody that's coming around this time, do not stay by the park unless you want the live action happening 24/7. Let me tell y'all something. The theme was a safari, okay? It was live jungle noises going from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. every
Girl, that's for
single
me. What?
night.
Oh, I love it. I love the
I
life.
felt like I was being tortured. It was I hated it. So one of the reasons I like La Estrella is because it's quiet. Shh,
That's true.
be
Mhm.
quiet and hush. That's the stage of my life I'm in. Be quiet. Just hush. Okay. So yeah, but again, these are environmental things that y'all got to know about yourself. Like, what do you
Mhm.
want your surroundings to be like? You have to ask yourself those things. So also, you know what questions to ask when you're looking for where you want to stay and all that kind of stuff. You also, like, for instance, if you find an apartment, you want to try to stay there on the weekend as well as during the week, night and day, so that is it construction happening? What's the turn up looking like? What's the
Mhm.
cars and the kids playing outside, the dogs barking? Like, you want to know the things, right? If
Mhm.
that's something that is important to you and something that is going to make or break your stay.
Yeah.
Sabaneta, I couldn't do it, baby. They got that. I was like, I don't need to hear not another
The constant
no
thump, 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 thump. Girl,
no
I love a
mind.
quiet building. I want my building to be quiet. But the thump outside, I'm gonna
Mm-mm,
absolutely need the thump. I'm
I
gonna
can
mm-mm,
sleep through the
absolutely.
mm-mm.
Do
No
you like
mind.
it too?
yeah.
I need that. It's for
Mhm.
me, it's like the lifeblood of the place.
Right.
That's what I loved about Playa. I loved being off of Fifth. I didn't want to live there, but just being near that, the lively of it. Oh my God, yes. Okay, so y'all know C-Temp has a guide. You can reach out to her, get her travel guide. If you have specific questions, I've given you information. You can reach out to these ladies. I want to also welcome my brother Kevin from Melanin Man Travels to the chat. We don't usually get the fellas around here, so brother, thank you for stopping in. And he's traveled extensively too. We met in Mexico. I just love him. I'm telling y'all, get over there, check out his channel. He doesn't do content that is just for women. He does world travel content. And when I tell you, if you want to know where a restaurant is, you want to know where good eating is. I'm not talking about just good food. My brother picks the best restaurants, baby. He knows how to treat you when you come to town. He's in Guadalajara now, I believe. I know he was just in PV, but get over there, check out Kevin at Melanin Man Travels if you're in the chat, and give it to your guy. Send your guy over there too. Okay, back to it, y'all. Tamika wants to know what's the average rate for a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. This is where y'all lost me because I'm telling y'all know everybody knows I'm paying $325. When I
Where
heard the rate, I was like, yeah,
they have 325. Yeah, I mean, where
I
you
don't know
where
about
what
that.
it looks like and where you're gonna be at is a whole nother question. Do you got
So
hot
here
water
we
in
go.
your sink? Those are
We talking about a balcony for me. We
it's
talking
a
about
balcony.
something
Yeah,
nice. So this what is it gonna cost? What is it gonna cost?
the sky's the limit. I know somebody who was paying 4,500 a month, and my rent for a 2 bedroom, 2 bath in downtown Sabaneta was 350, all utilities paid. So it really is it's a range. And
Okay.
that's in depending on the city, depending on what time of year, if you have a visa, if you're able to get a 6 month lease or 3 months. I personally prefer to find my place and then talk to the owner separately. So I did have to go a couple times and get a notarized lease. That was kind of like for a tourist. So it really just depends. But I would say like the bottom, if you're trying to live comfortably with the locals, maybe like 250, 300. But you may be in Ibigay. You may be, on the outskirts. So
So
the
there's a
sky's the
budget.
limit.
There's something for everybody's budget.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was also gonna add this tip to it. So I have only stayed in furnished places because I didn't want to have to deal with buying furniture and doing the whole situation. So I started out on Airbnb, and then I find a place that I like. My budget for myself was $1,000 that I was willing to spend. My current place that I have is 2 bed, 2 bath. Again, it's furnished. Was furnished. 2 bed, 2 bath, balcony, all the amenities, pool, soccer court field, Turkish sauna, all the things,
All the things.
play areas and co-working spaces, 24-hour security, like all of that, for $1,000. And again, I just walked in with my suitcases and here I
Mhm.
am. Had I tried to get this place without it being furnished, it probably would have been somewhere around 500 or 600 maybe a month. Um, but this is another place where I like to say you really have to know what that looks like to you. I am not a budget traveler. I have OCD, and I mean that in every sense that I actually have OCD. So I'm not about to stay somewhere with a bathroom that I can't deal with. Certain types of tile trigger me. Like it's all I have to stay in a certain type of place in order to feel comfortable. And I think it's important to be real with yourself about what you actually need. Like I've never been a hostile traveler. Like I'm not doing that, right? You may be, and that's fine, but know that about yourself. And if you know that you need a certain level of living, then plan for that and budget for that. Don't try to fit yourself into what you think your budget might be, because you will not have peace. And a part of this whole thing is being able to have peace of mind. And if your brain is trying to figure out if you are safe because your surroundings don't feel quite up to par, you are not going to have the peace that you are looking for. Okay. So my urge is to be honest with what you
So
need,
true.
but my budget,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna say this: if you're living in the U.S., whatever you find is gonna be less. Okay, it's gonna be less than you're paying there, and could
So
be
true,
about
Kimberly.
50% less,
Mhm.
and maybe sometimes 75% less, depending on what's going on. But it's gonna be less. Know that.
I'm with you.
Okay,
I am not a budget traveler, and I applaud my sisters and brothers that can stay at the hostel. I get it. I get
that's
it. They're a
never
lot of
been.
fun. The people there is a whole bunch of pluses. It's just not one of those things. I don't want to smell anything I don't want to smell. I don't want to see anything I don't want to see. I don't want to
Mhm.
share a bathroom. I don't want to do any of those things. So that, yeah, I think the best advice is know who you are as a traveler, and then let that dictate where you stay, or know what your absolute deal breakers are. My deal breaker is a bad bathroom. I can almost live without a TV. That bathroom has got to be on point, or I'm not going. Y'all, I've been here a whole year. I still go in my own shower with shower shoes because I don't trust a cleaning lady like that. I still come behind the cleaning lady with bleach because that's just, and I wouldn't even say I'm OCD, but I'm OCD about that. I just, so know who you are, because you do want to give yourself the best chance at being happy in a place.
Yeah, and
So
that's another good point. With my place, it was furnished, but I got in because I liked it on the Airbnb. And when I talked to them, he was like, "Oh, I'm in Boston," so we could like really converse and talk about it. I'm like, it's just me and my daughter. We're not down here doing nothing crazy, but I could stay here for a year and just pay you. So it worked out that way. And also, they have a very big like help system. So if you ask for a maid, they can hook you up with somebody for $20, a day or however much it costs. And I would just say, like, it's a place where it pays to know people or to even just ask, because you can, bargain. You can tell them, I'm not, going to mess your place up. So can
Mm-hmm.
I have this for the low, and I'll have a consistent rent. I think that utilities, they come all together. So the most I ever paid for utilities once I did get my own apartment, it was about $60, and that's
Same.
for water, electricity,
Internet.
everything was about $60,
Mm-hmm.
the
okay.
most.
Someone wants to know, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't think you all have pets.
No.
Anybody have any experience bringing a pet from the US? I'm sorry, sis. You're gonna have to Google. You're gonna have to go talk to Chat GPT and them about it. Because I
I
know
know
for a fact none of us
people
are traveling with pets.
I know people that have, so I know that there is a way to be able to bring your pets. What I would say is go to the government website and see what those requirements are about bringing pets, because there's certain types of papers and shots and all that kind of stuff that has to be had.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole nother consideration. Well, let's pivot really quickly because I know I got this question in an email and it's really specific, and I hate to pivot from there. We just got through talking about our pets, but well, it's all family related. Some of the ladies are wondering what it's like to relocate, particularly in the area of homeschooling if you have kids. And so I know you have done this, C-Temp. So could you share with us your experience with homeschooling? What are some of the things you do? I call it world schooling. And I'm telling y'all, I was an educator for 30 years. If I had it to do over again, you all, I absolutely would not have my baby in public school. I wouldn't. I did it for 30 years. It was great. Trust me, we did our best with what we had. But now, world schooling, that was not a thing. No, my mom didn't know about no world schooling. Not that she would have
Mhm.
world schooled anyway, but I would do it with my kids if I had it to do over again. So give us your take, your experience in that area.
Yeah, it was a good opportunity. When I moved here, my daughter was 3, so she had never been to school before. And her first school experience, she had 2 years at a private Colombian school. So it was not an international school. They did not speak English at the school. They had one English teacher that would come twice a week, and she loved it. They had chickens. They were learning how to grow different foods. Like she would bring home cilantro. They had a swimming pool, they had theater, they had plays. So it was pretty much the same thing. She had made a lot of friends there. And after she graduated from that, which they call like transition, I had the choice to either put her in an international school, but one of them was Catholic, and then the other one was like $1,000 a month. So that was not going to happen. So I started teaching English. So I'm like, well, how hard can it be? Well, now maybe that's like a really lofty dream, but I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So, all in all, we registered with our state, which is the state of Kansas, and they do have a pretty open homeschooling laws. So, I would say look into your state, see if it's possible, because they will be looking for your child once they turn a certain age. So, you want to make sure that you're covered at home for that. So you don't want to have any truancy issues or any issues with them trying to take your child once you do get back into the States, maybe to visit family. And I just followed a plan. We just do a book. We have a book that we bought from Sam's. It's the complete curriculum. I'm able to afford Outschool, so I can choose her teachers. I can choose the courses that she takes. And then we also, when we're in the US, I'm able to take her to different activities that are here. So it's just really a combination of all of them. I'm also a biologist, so math and science, like I love that. That's like my favorite. So I would just say like go with your strengths, and then look into maybe having a tutor for that.
Mm.
And I
Thank you.
wanted to add, I'm actually working on a homeschool curriculum because I really feel like it's important for us to have a culturally competent homeschool curriculum. I've worked with Outschool before, and they're great, and they have a lot of options and all of that. But the cultural competence is something that's important, right, for our children. So that's actually a project that I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
So y'all, I make you update when I get that together. But it's important, and I underscore as a career educator, I would not be putting my child in nobody's school in the United States of America today. I
You
wouldn't.
heard that from two
Absolutely.
educators. You
I
three.
wouldn't.
Mhm.
See, I'm sorry. Hey, I still have friends that are in the profession, and I respect them. I respect the work
Same.
that they do. I am telling you, nobody works harder than a public school teacher. When you see one, hug her, give her a gift card, buy her a cup of coffee. Because trust me, nobody has probably told her today, thank
Yeah.
you for the service. It is one of the toughest jobs I've ever done in my life. And so God bless you. We respect you. We appreciate the work you're doing. But sis, you can run. And that's going to lead me so beautifully into what we're going to talk about now, how we're making money abroad. Because listen, you all, this is the fall. I know somebody right now. I know a Black teacher right now who about to have a nervous breakdown. I know a teacher right now who is stressed out of her mind, trying to get it all done before the first kids clock in. I understand that. I know that Sunday night tummy trouble, that whole thing that you go through. And nobody really appreciates and supports that work. But I'm here to tell you, you can continue to do that work if you like, sister. It's noble work. But if you have reached the place where you're like, I cannot do this another day, there's hope. There's hope. You don't have to do it. I am telling you, you can absolutely pivot out of that place and make money for yourself. Trust me, if some school board is paying you $80,000 to do that job, there's value. You're the value. You have the skills. If they could do it without you, they'd be doing it without you. If computers could do it, computers would be doing it. They absolutely need you. You have skills. You have marketable skills. And so I'm going to turn this over to the ladies and ask them, because everybody wants to know, how are you making money on the road? How do you afford this lifestyle? Because clearly you ladies have been doing this. You've been away from the US for over 3 years. So how are you making money? Anybody jump in?
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
C-Temp, go for it. Yes, because you go first. Whoever. C-Temp has got some stuff about teaching abroad, and I want to go ahead and plug it. I'm gonna just say it. One of the easiest ways in the world, if you're a teacher, is to transition out of the classroom and teach online or to teach overseas. There's several programs that will not only pay for your airfare, your housing, they will also give you a stipend, a monthly stipend for living expenses. Not all programs do that. I'm not trying to sell you some pie in the sky. Not all do. But if you need that kind of support, I've got a couple websites I'm going to share, but C-Temp's got some resources too that she wants to share with you, that you really don't have to live that life. If you really have made it to the place where okay, it's just not good for me anymore. I can't do this. What are some things that they could do, C-Temp?
Yeah,
because we're making money in all kind of ways. I'm sorry, we're making money in all kind of ways, y'all. Everybody not teaching English online. Everybody not, but that could be a way for you. And so I'm gonna let C-Temp. I promise you, I feel so passionately about this. No, as a retired teacher, I know what the thing is. Man, get these people out of the house, girl.
Yeah, I'm one of the people, I keep it simple. If I want to do something, I literally go online and Google. So I Googled how to make money online. The first thing that popped up was teach English. And I was like, okay, that's it. So I previously had worked in like corporate. I worked as a biologist in the lab, and then also like accounting, like several jobs. And once I started working for myself, I never made so much money in my life. Now, this was back when we had contracts with China. And the one thing I did not want to do was go from a 9-to-5 in the US to a 9-to-5 in a different country. So working for a school system was not something that I was interested in. I was only interested in contract work, online, and like borderless. So that's what I went for. And I was very specific and intent about what I wanted, and I got it. So I started teaching with contracts through China. And then once that fell through, when they banned all after school tutors, then I went like freelancing. So I worked for Cambly for a number of years. I still currently work for them. And then this past year, I started to do Preply. So in Preply, I also teach English, but I hate grammar. So I only teach conversational English, and my schedule's full. So I'm saying, like, if you don't like children, you don't have to teach children. If you want to teach adults, maybe you have a special thing that you do where the vocabulary is very specific to that field. You can also do that too. The only thing I would say is just to get started now, get started as soon as possible so that you can build up your regulars and set your prices. So Cambly is a place where you can teach without a teaching degree, and it's more conversational. Preply is more like they want to see your credentials. So they want to know if you're teaching English, do you have a TOEFL, or what can you really do for us? So with that, you can raise your price. So if you're teaching people business English, you may charge $25 an hour. Like, it's really what you feel comfortable with and what sells. So I would say if you are thinking about starting to teach, whether you want to teach crocheting or anything on Preply, just get started now so that you can find your base and see really how much money you can make before you jump.
And Canissia has a link. I want to a couple of links. I see one to Cambly and there's one to Preply. I've placed those links in the discussion box as well as they're in the chat. And if you're catching this in the replay and you don't have access to the chat, then you can just get them off of the screen. But they are, again, all of the ladies' links are down in the description box. So teaching abroad, teaching online, these are all alternative ways where that's not even that big a pivot, ma'am. You're doing that anyway. If you're doing that in a brick and mortar building, you can certainly do it where all you got to do is put on a cute shirt and down below, girl, you got on your shorts and your house shoes. So I just hated that feeling of feeling trapped. I don't know if
Mhm.
either of you felt that or had that experience, but I could actively hear this voice of, well, you've been doing this for so long. What else you gonna do? Who else
Mm-hmm.
gonna where
Mm-hmm.
you going, what you gonna do now? You've been in it 25 years. You can't stop now. Yes, you can. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
absolutely can. And you can
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
absolutely pivot. And it doesn't take, there are programs where you don't even have to have a degree in teaching. I'm speaking specifically to teachers, but whoever you are, this is a viable method of getting out of the house. It's just one
Mhm.
way if you haven't considered it. And I'll share with you after we go, we'll talk with Kimberland because she's doing something totally different. Kimberland isn't teaching online, but there are multiple ways that you can take your skill set. You can freelance, you can listen. Don't let that keep you. Don't let that corporate plantation be the reason why you put your mental health and your physical health at risk. That's We've got something else. So once Kimberlyn finishes, I'll share the websites that I have. And I know, C-Temp, you have some resources too. I have these some links. So y'all check everything down in the description box. C-Temp, did you want to say anything else before we switch over to Kimberlyn?
Yeah, I did do the International TEFL Academy, and it did come with, I think, 200 hours. And then you also had to teach at a local place that was teaching ESL. And I found them in Wichita, Kansas. They had really nice facilities. They would watch my daughter. They had food. It was nice. I would go to work and then I would go there to get my practice hours. Um, but I would really say that teaching independently is where it's at because I was able to basically construct a whole, I call it slang course. So I teach them like standing on business. I teach them things like that, the things you need to know. If you're out here working at an international company, you may hear these things and it's weird. So I would say that owning, once you get to that point, if you can own your curriculum or what you put out there, that is where that's where the money is. So that's where the money resides. So I would just say that it's like a process. You're going to start somewhere and then eventually grow, hopefully longer into better services that you can offer. But if you think that you can't do it just because you don't want to teach English, there are plenty of things you can teach online, not just English. There's plenty of products. Like I've written so many books online that sell and send me a check monthly. So I would just say look into it. It's not impossible. Maybe it's a little strange. Maybe it feels like juggling, but it is possible.
And we're not going to even get started with creating your own digital products. That's a whole nother show for a whole nother time. Because that is definitely a viable way to create and generate income where you don't have to be subjected to a 9 to 5, a boss, stress, disrespect, and the rest of it. Okay, I'm done with that. Kimberly, what are you doing? How are you making money? Because the people want to know. How are you making
Right. So I felt the juggling because that is kind of what my life looks like. I do a lot of different things. So my specialty in education is in school improvement and professional development. So I contract with a company where I do professional development across the US. And it's usually I choose for my specialties to be in the areas of cultural competence, social emotional learning, stuff like that, because that's just what I like to do. So I do that, but I also am a podcast producer. So, my business partner, who is my best friend, and I, we produce podcasts and we teach people how to start podcasts. And we help you structure your podcast and really get it out into the world. I also am a life coach. So I work with clients, as I mentioned earlier, in helping them connect to God and have a very deep relationship, deep personal relationship with God. And this is not about religion. This is about God, big God, not God that has been put in boxes. But I work with people on that journey, and specifically lately has been with people who realize that they are in burnout. So I didn't mention this, but if y'all come holler at me over on my page, Minding My Black Ass Business, I am recovering from a serious mental health crisis last year and extreme burnout. It happened July 25th of last year. So my entire life had to be restructured, even my out of the US life, right? Because a lot of those habits that I had, overworking and all of that, they don't just go away just because you leave the US. So I was continuing to do that, and my brain was like, and no, we're finished. Okay, we're done. We're not doing that
Mhm.
anymore. Along with that, discovering that I am neurodivergent and understanding everything that comes along with that, and understanding that I wasn't crazy my whole life. Like this was something was really different from how other people were processing things. So I've taken all of that and just had a conversation with myself the other day about seriously being a content creator. I've been on the internet for years and but never really looked at it as a career. And what I know now, especially with where we are in the current world of how stories are being told and banned all at the same time, it's really, really clear to me that we are writing history every day. So I encourage people as well as myself to own your story and start documenting your story and start telling your story, because there are people who are looking for you because they like, girl, I've been dealing with that too. And I didn't know. And when we start talking, that's when our community finds us. So I am currently on the road to monetizing my YouTube page and really taking this seriously because I know that I have so much wisdom to give. And I know that I can help a lot of people not go down the road that I was going down, and to stop burnout in its tracks. We talk about burnout a lot of times like it's something that's kind of, oh yeah, I was burnt out. Like it's just a quick little thing, take a nap and get over it. That is not what it is.
Yeah.
Burnout really means that your brain is not functioning, cannot do anything that you might try to will it to do. It is a very crippling place to be. So, my mission is to help people not to continue down that path and to be able to cut that off and start some of the rehabilitative practices that can help us reconnect to our bodies and honor the things that bring us joy. So along with that, in minding my black ass business, there's the professional frolicker movement, which is where I go and take field trips and just allow my brain to do what it's gonna do in whatever day and see what God has for me. So I have a lot of different things. I said all that to say I have a lot of different things that I do. And it really goes back to looking at those skill sets, right? As an educator, specifically for anybody who is in fields where you feel like you've been told that your skill set is not transferable. It's
Mhm.
important for us to sit down and really think about the things that we do every day that could be used for us to teach somebody else how to do it. I'm also a firm proponent of working for yourself, and not getting caught back up into another system, because systems are toxic and systems are meant to keep you in a place where you are in survival mode. So I do
Mhm.
feel that freedom lives outside of the systems and working outside of that. So um, I help people strategize as well on what that looks like. So we host, my best friend and I host sessions called Strategy Meets Purpose. And it's where you come with the idea and we ask questions from different sets and really ask the probing questions of things that maybe you haven't thought about. Sometimes you just need a thought partner. okay, to help get you over the hump to what you're trying to do, right? So that's what I do. I do a lot of behind the scenes work in helping people to make these decisions. So if you like, hey sis, I need you to hold my hand so I could get from out of here, holla at me. You looking to become a life coach and you're thinking about what that looks like, holla at me. You're saying to yourself, I know there has to be more than this. There has to be something else. I know, holla at me, because that's what I specialize in.
Girl, y'all, this thing is just so, there's so much richness here. I gotta do this one because it's a perfect place to put it in. My brother, who's in the chat, Kevin, Melanin Man Travels, just released a digital product teaching you step by step how to take and use your medical leave. Ladies, gentlemen, we have resources at our disposal. If you don't know how that process works, please, Kevin, drop your information in the chat so I can share it. So timely. I didn't even know he was going to be here in the chat with us tonight, but I previewed his product, his whole program. And when I tell you top flight, he takes you from beginning to end, and it jumps off from the place of burnout. If you find yourself in burnout, how do you? And some of us, we don't know. We don't know what's available to us. And so, what I want to do, and I'm so happy that we're all here together tonight, we want to help. This isn't just fluff and talk, y'all. I'm telling you, if you're catching this in the replay, slow it down, take some notes, get these links. Get in touch with these women. They have resources that you can use and utilize to make that transition so that you can leave things that no longer serve you to living the life that you truly deserve. So check Kevin out. I'm hoping he'll put that information in the chat. I'm telling you, he can take you from what you have to say, where you go, how you get it started. And then Kimberland is going to pick up from there and tell you, these ladies are going to tell you, once you're out, how can you make money? How can I stay out? I don't want to have to go back. Nobody wants to go back. Once you get out, and I'm going to tell you this, once you disconnect from the matrix, you can no longer unsee it.
Yeah.
There is no, it's no like, okay, well, I'm going to just, you can't go back. I don't know anybody who has successfully left and like for real disconnected and said, well, girl, you know what? Next week, I think it's something about that. You can try to re-enter, but that's just, it's messed up. I cannot. You'll never see it the same. You cannot unsee what you've already seen. So I had to hold I had to hold that up there for just a second because I would have forgotten. So I want you guys to reach out to Kimberland, and I've placed her information up here as well. It's in the chat. It is in the description. Please do yourself a favor. Go ahead and connect with these ladies. So we talked about how we're making money out here in the world. I know somebody asked specifically for websites and links for teaching abroad. And so you all give me a second. I'm going to share this screen because there are a couple programs that I know that you can access, and they have varying levels of requirements. And listen to this. If you're like me and you're a woman of a particular age, baby, it is never too late. When I tell you there are programs that will take you up to the age of 65, and I found a few where there's absolutely no age requirement. So if you look, you're this close to retirement, you're like, girl, what am I gonna do? We got you. Hold tight. Let me see if I can work this technology. In the meantime, y'all talk amongst yourselves while I try to share this screen. Let's see. Okay, here it is.
I wanted to, while you pull out, I wanted to just kind of underscore what you were saying about that matrix, because it really is, you have to prepare for the grief that comes along with realizing that the way that you viewed the world is not necessarily what is actually happening in the world. And there's a lot of processing that takes place with that. So I just want to, wherever you all are in your process, I want to encourage you to give yourself grace and space in that process to realize we've been lied to a lot. And it's a lot to rectify in your spirit. So take your time with that and allow yourself to feel all of the feelings that come with that, because it's a lot of them. And we've been on this journey for a while and are still continuously discovering places where we like, y'all lied about that too, huh? Wow.
Every day.
Every day.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
It's
I
a rough.
just wanted to say that.
Okay. Can you all see this thing on my
Yes.
screen? Can you see the TEFL.org?
Mm-hmm.
This is a website you can go, great information. If you are looking at teaching in different countries, they've got programs in Japan, South Korea. Let me see if I can pull it up. Anyway, this is one of the sites, the TEFL.org. Go there. Trust me. It's a trustworthy site. I like it. It's pretty simple to maneuver. And I have another one that I pulled up too. This one is, let me see if I can get to it. Can you all see this one? It's CIEE. And we talked about this, I think, in our last live, because we talked about NowCap if you want to teach in Spain. We talked about EPIC if you want to teach in Korea. EPIC is EPIK. We talked about JET, J-E-T, if you want to teach in Japan. But CIEE, and can you all see CIEE?
It's not on the screen. No, the TEFL is still there.
Okay, let me go ahead and stop sharing that one and try to share CIEE. Because CIEE is a program that is, I want to say it's international in terms of, they have several country placements. EPIC will only do places or placements in Korea. JET only does placements in Japan. NowCap, I think, only does placements in Spain. But if you go through CIEE, then you open up, the whole world. So they will, you can do Spain, South Korea, Thailand, China, Ireland. So here's another resource that you can use if you think teaching might be the way that you could pivot out of whatever the stressful situation is, whatever's not serving you. You're ready to make a move. Check out these two websites. I've got these links as well down in the description box. And if you need some additional information, feel free to reach out to me. But these are sources. CIEE has been around forever, and it's pretty easy to apply to this program. Now, nothing is, it's not, you still have to put in some work, but you can get it done. I've done this one. I've done CIEE and I did NowCap. NowCap's online app was considerably harder to do. So CIEE, NowCap, any of those programs could be viable ways for you to get out the house, get off the couch, ladies. Okay. So I know we touched on dating. You talk about a whole pivot. We've talked about, do you feel safe? We've talked about accommodations. We've talked about all the good, but we only tapped on the dating part. I saw Kimberland sprinkle that little, I'm dating a doctor in. You should have seen the chat light up. The chat was like, you dating a who and a what? We need to know more. So the ladies, I don't know about the guys, but the ladies in the chat definitely want to know a little bit more about this doctor. First of all, does he have a brother? And what is his daddy doing? I don't even know about his brother. What is his daddy doing? I ain't got time for his brother. Is daddy around? Danny around?
I cannot.
Anyway, what are we doing, ladies, out here in the world? What are we doing? How are we getting connected?
See, Tim, you want to go in there because they're trying to put me on the spot, girl.
We want to hear about the doctor. So.
She said she in with the shenanigans.
Girl, we all all eyes and ears. We want to know. The girlies want to know. What do we have to do?
This is the thing, though. And so remember, I mentioned Bumble as a tool, right? Facebook dating as a tool. I do not ever go into situations expecting an outcome. What I usually do is open myself to an opportunity, right? Because I'm building a community, right? Interestingly enough, I met the doctor in the slums. In the slums is Facebook dating. That's what the slums is. Okay. It's rough over there. Okay. So you got to do a lot of work to get out of Facebook over into the WhatsApp. All right. That's their goal. But this is what I wanted to say about dating. specifically in Latin American countries. Okay. One of the things that we have to understand is that our reality in the US is very different from the rest of the world. In the US, we leave or get kicked out the house at 18. We go be on our own. Many of us, I will speak for me, I'll use I statements. I have not lived with anyone since graduating from college on purpose. So I am very used to independence, right? And therefore my expectations of any man, so I'm 43. So my expectations at this point in life are that you have to be adding, because I like myself. I'm a good time. Okay. All with me. So if you're trying to come over here and be a part of this, you're gonna have to add some piece. You're gonna have to add something, because otherwise, what is we doing? Right. Um, so I think it's important for you to know, like, your expectations. That's going to be with anything, okay? But also understand that many of the men still live at home and or may live with siblings, because the culture is not to live on your own and to do things on your own. So what might that present itself like? Let me tell you a story. This was not the doctor, but this was somebody else at the house. Can you cut off the tops of these strawberries for me and rinse them off and put them in this container? I don't eat strawberries. I don't know how to cut them. Sir, you are 38 years old. You don't know how to figure how to cut the top off a strawberry? Well, my sister always told me to stay out the kitchen. Hey, get out my house. Get out. I can't. It's a lot of learned helplessness, a lot of feeling like training and teaching and all of that in my lived experience. Okay. These are sweeping generalizations. Also, this is my lived experience of after dealing with a few of these folks. Um, so having said that, I've not necessarily that you have to change your expectations, but I think you have to be very aware that this is a different culture. This is a completely different culture in the way that they do life, and the what the expectations, gender roles, like all of that stuff comes into play in a completely different country. So it's a lot of conversations and a lot of questions and a lot of boundary setting, right? Being able to say what I am and what I ain't finna do. Okay. Also, this is a side note. This is after dark. A lot of times they be thinking that swinging that thing is finna do something. And what I want you to know, I just want to make a public announcement to all the sirs that are listening. Hey, we not worrying about that thing that you swinging if you can't even come in here and make sure that other
Girl, if you
things.
bring a hammer to fix the toilet, I don't know what you're talking about, a cultural thing. I married both of them. I married that man twice. Neither one of my ex-husbands could cook, clean, any of that stuff. One, my first husband, yes, I said first, couldn't, girl, he was eating hot dogs and cereal when I met him. So I'm trying to think, well, this
But
ain't
that
gonna be
was
that
a
much
different
relief.
phase of
It's
life.
not gonna
At
be a
this
relief
phase
for
of life,
me.
you ain't finna be dealing with nobody with no hot dogs and no cereal.
Girl, that man couldn't make. And my second husband, girl, his sisters used to wash his hair for him. So I'm just saying, for me personally, that ain't that big a leap. I know this. I know these men.
Well, y'all
Are
got to
you
know. You got to know your what you want. That's why I'm
you
saying. That's why
see?
I'm just putting it out there, and I'm speaking about my lived
This
experience.
might
Right?
not be a problem for y'all. I'm telling y'all,
It might
girls,
not,
they're men.
and it also might be. So just govern yourselves accordingly. Okay,
Just
is
know
what
what you
I'm
get.
saying.
Know what you
Mhm.
get.
Know what you're getting. Ask a lot of questions, because even let me give you an example. This is a concrete example that really doesn't have anything to do with dating, but it's about weaponized incompetence. Come on, Nichelle, girl, that's what it is. Can't stand it. Um, you want to talk about sending me over the edge? Do that. Can't do it. Cannot deal with it. But no, it's. I think what you got to know what you want. You have to know what you want, what you're looking for, what this is going to look like for you. I think a lot of times, as women, we put ourselves in positions of historically like having to be chosen and all that kind of stuff, right? And I don't know what age people are listening to this, but I know something happens. I'm 43, okay? But I know something happened on that 40 threshold, and I was like, let me tell you what ain't finna happen. I'm not doing this anymore, right? So when it comes to dating, know that, but also understand there are other cultural implications that are present that may challenge that. So this is the example I was going to give. So you know how in the U.S. we use the word silly a lot. So we're like, you so silly, or this is silly, or whatever. And it's not necessarily meant to be negative. Silly is silly, right? It's a light childish type word that we use. Well, in Spanish, there is no direct translation to silly. Silly translates into a word tanto, and tanto means dumb, right? That's not what we mean when we say, girl, you being so silly. We don't mean dumb. We mean childlike and frolicky and such, right? So I was having a conversation with someone and we were being silly. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're so silly. You're so silly. And then they said, I am not stupid. I am not dumb. They took complete offense. And I was taken aback because when did somebody call you dumb? What happened? Where was I? It was the getting lost in translation, literally. So I'm saying all this to say we have to make sure that we understand that words don't mean the same thing in every context, and taking the time to have the conversations that we need to have in order to make sure that we are really on the same page, because now you have the additional language barrier that's on top of all the other things that just happen in dating. I'm a pause here. Somebody else try.
C-Temp, what's happening, girl? Please just give us what's going on. Inquiring minds want to know. You know, I leaned in. I'm like, I just want to know what the dating scene looks like. What's
I
happening?
love the dating culture. Like I said, I love people catering to me. I don't know where you found the strawberry man at, but he had to go. I'm glad you got rid of him. But I like people that bring me coconuts and cut them open and do all that for me in San Andres. And then I also like Medellin, where they have like their food, their local food. I had a guy, he had his dad ship him some food from the Choco department, and he cooked it for me. So I don't know. They're just, to me, they're like perfect as far as that goes. Now there are a few things that we could deal with. If they're very religious. If you are an introvert and you don't like meeting the whole family in the first week, this may not be. You might need to slow it down and tell him that you don't want to meet his grandma on a Wednesday. You don't want to go to his cousin's wedding the first week that you meet him. So I would just say that you have to be kind of careful out there. But I always tend to have really good dating experiences just because I have no tolerance for anything else. You got to go. There's going to be another one coming. So
They do
I
move
would just
fast
say
though.
know yourself.
They do
Yeah.
that point. They move. It take about 2 weeks before they fall in love. So be ready for that too, because that's what I mean. Like there are these things that'll pop up that are
Put
like
it in the
cultural.
chat
Slow
right
down,
now.
sir.
Typing and Googling
Yeah.
tickets right now. I see sisters
Went on a date
like,
with one guy. He brought his whole mom, sister, cousin. We were all at the mall together. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's one of those
Yeah.
things.
I've had to do that too. Like, no, I'm not meeting anyone today. No, we can try this
oh
again
no,
another.
this sounds like the place for me. I'm
It might
sorry.
be.
We're
Now,
at a
now listen,
party.
if you looking and you looking to come and get somebody quick, now they looking. Nah, they looking. Okay, so this is the thing. You're not gonna ever have a problem, as C-Temp just said, somebody else is coming along. You're not gonna have a problem finding nobody. That's not going to be the problem. It's going to be what do you want and what does that look like? Yvette, I love that you asked this. So I wonder what their viewer bias of U.S. women. So earlier we was talking about how viewed from the U.S. we're viewed as having privilege. We do, and we're viewed as having money, right? So, and this is another thing. This is another thing. There is a vast gap in income. Vast. Okay. So, for instance, I told y'all my rent is $1,000 a month, right? I would say that my life here is probably like $1,500 a month, let's say. I was talking to someone about money and like how much money is a lot and like what that looks like. And they were telling me with $500 a month, that is their rent and all of their utilities for the month.
Mhm.
And what that said to me was, this is not going any further, because God forbid if something happens to me, and not even to be like that, but if something happens to me, my life costs 3 times your life. Like, you're not in a place to be able to do anything with that. So govern yourselves accordingly, right? Know that you're not about to cut, unless you over wherever the cartel is supposed to be at. You're not about to find somebody who's making the type of money that we make in the US. That's very difficult. Like the pay gap is very large. Yeah, they always be trying to get married in 10 days. That's what they do. But this
Well,
the other thing.
again, like you said, you have to govern yourself accordingly. If you're a woman of a particular age, girl, the clock is ticking. I've been married. I already know what this thing. I already know how this goes, sir. Let's see. Do we agree on this, and that?
They looking for you.
Mhm.
They
We good
looking
to
for
go.
you.
So,
They looking
ladies,
for you.
you heard it. You heard it. It's something for everybody. It sounds like it's something.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, hey, I can say that's a far cry better than Southeast Asia. At least they're open, because some places I've been, they aren't really open to dating and marrying outside of their
Hmm.
village,
Hmm.
outside of their culture, their religion. And so it limits your ability to date, really. You have to find somebody who's really open minded and willing to buck the whole system. But in Colombia, it sounds like they like brown
Oh,
girls.
they
They
love them.
do.
They
They
love
do.
us.
Their abuela is probably looking just like us
Yeah, they
somewhere
love
down the
us.
line.
They love our hair. They love
Mhm.
our curviness. Like, that's not gonna be the problem of finding. You're
Yeah.
gonna have a line, okay? I
Okay.
be having a team. Just like, let me just, you my weekend
Yeah.
boyfriend. You my boyfriend once a month. You my boyfriend only on Tuesdays. Like, you don't have to be a sugar mama per
Oh,
se, but
No.
you
Mm-mm.
listen, just understand the financial circumstances. I'm just giving y'all the real. I'm just telling y'all what I done found out and hipping you the game. Okay.
Right.
and if
And then
money
also
is
the
not a
traveling
problem,
thing. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
no, go.
If you're a digital nomad and you bop around, their passport is not as strong, so you do have to be aware of that. They can't just get up and leave with you. They usually have a career or they're taking care of their family.
That
So that was a big deal for me. I wanted to travel and it was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna be over here. So that was tough. I would say keep that in mind, and then also get a prenup. They got prenups down here. You try to get married, get you a marriage visa, get you a prenup.
all the things. We're gonna always be smart no matter where we go. Keeping our
Mhm,
head on a swivel, that's what we do. That's what we preach and
mhm.
teach
Mhm.
here. Keep your head on a swivel. We're giving you this information so you can make informed decisions, so that you know before you go. We don't want
Yes.
anybody getting there and being shocked and like, oh my goodness, I didn't know. You knew. We giving it to you all right here. And if you have a question, this is your opportunity to ask the question right now. Do not leave here with a question, especially if it's about dating, living arrangements. We got you on that. Somebody said, what was that? Okay, never mind. So listen, ladies, let's do this. We have touched on all the things. I think we did really well. In our last 15 minutes, I wanted to do this quick round of some rapid fire questions, just lighthearted stuff about your experiences in Colombia. Because again, I am coming that way and I want to know. So somebody tell me, either of you can start first. I don't care. What's your favorite Colombian dish? What should I be eating on? What's good?
My daughter likes arepa con queso, which is like a corn patty, and they put cheese in it, and then sometimes they'll sprinkle some creme de leche on top. But I am a fruit girl. I will chase a fruit vendor down. We're on a first name basis. He come through with that cart. He already know what's up. So I'm the fresh fruit girl, and then my daughter is more like arepas.
And
Kimberland, what you
I'm gonna
eating?
be I mentioned earlier fried tilapia, rice, avocado, salad, and fish soup.
All readily available.
Hmm.
Oh, fire.
And did we talk about prices? How is the food? How are food prices comparable to the U.S.? Are we talking 50%, 30%? Where are we talking in terms of very affordable?
So I will give an example. I had some friends that came and we were talking about dragon fruit. So dragon fruit here was about 75 cents US. And she got back to the US and she told me that dragon fruits were $5 a piece. So
Mhm. Yeah.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
like the Menu del Dia, and they're about $4, and you get the fresh juice, you get the soup, you get the main meal, like 4 ounces of meat, rice, and a salad, $4.
Oh
if you
yeah.
eat meat, it's going to be very easy to find cheap food, and it's easy to find fresh fruits and vegetables as well. Like
Mhm.
those are very inexpensive, so you will always have something to eat if you choose to have something to eat. It's accessible. Fresh fruits and vegetables. Meat is very accessible here in Medellin. Seafood is a little bit more expensive because it's not a coastal city, but you'll eat very well.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's everything I need. Fresh fruit,
Mhm.
a little bit of meat, some rice and beans. Girl, that's dinner. And a salad, we're
Hmm.
done.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
have been some of the biggest culture shocks for either of you?
Mm.
If any.
So I want to kind of take a different take on this, not necessarily a shock, but a cultural appreciation. I appreciate the way that Colombian people honor nature. They don't bulldoze. For instance, there's a mall here, Tesoro Mall, and they built the mall around the landscape and allowed the stream to continue to flow through. And they try to honor um, the earth, and that for me was a shock and very different because I feel like in the US, we just tear it all down. We just tear it all down. The other thing is that there's a popular neighborhood here called Comuna Trece where they did this escalator project in order to help people, the escalator as well as the cable cars. So, in order to help people who live in the mountains to be able to come down into the city and get back home. It was a shock to me that Colombia would do something like that and actually care about the people as opposed to just being like, y'all gonna have to figure it out. So those are two cultural appreciations that were very different for me that I had not seen.
Okay.
Mhm. I would say very petty. Every time I text somebody or meet someone, I have to say hello. How are you doing today? Even if we were talking an hour ago, we were talking yesterday on WhatsApp. So I hope you're still doing well. You know how Americans, we kind of just continue the conversation, but every day is, hola, gracias a Dios. Thank God I'm here. How are you?
I
Just
hate it.
very, you got to go through the whole gambit every
I
time.
hate it because I don't like small talk. And it's so
Every
stupid
time.
because you're not asking me how I'm doing for real. Like you're just,
Right.
this is something you do, and it's the gracias a Dios. Shut up.
See,
That's
I
just my
find that
pet.
so charming. That I find that we don't do that in the US. We just jump right in. But now because I've been away so long, I'm always about the greeting. It just reminds me, it makes me slow down a little. It's like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? And I found that charming. So it's the same as in Colombia, huh?
But the
Kimberland, you
texting, like,
yeah, no matter what, no matter how you
no matter
communicate
what.
East Asia, yes. Whether it's you walk up on them, you greet them. Whether
Hmm.
you're texting, you greet
You
them
greet
first.
them.
I found that kind
Mhm.
of charming. Okay, so the
Yeah.
same is true in Colombia.
Hmm.
I'm not a small talk girl either. I don't want to do much past that. I mean,
Well,
once I
that's
say,
what it's gonna be. That's what C-Temp is trying to tell
They're
you.
asking
It's a
about your
lot.
daughter every time. How's your daughter
oh
doing?
Lord,
But it's
yeah,
not a
see,
real question. It's an obligation. It's a
it's
part
the
of the procedure.
formality.
I can't
Yeah,
do it. I can't
yeah.
do it.
I can
Mhm.
see where it could get repetitive. All right,
Get
what's
off
some
my
of your
phone.
favorite weekend getaway spots? Where are y'all hanging out on the weekend? What y'all doing for
San
fun?
Andres, San Andres. I'm going to the island. Wagwan. We speaking Creole over there. So I always love San Andres. It's just a short flight. You cannot stay too long. They are very, very responsible with their culture, and you cannot just go buy a house or get an apartment. You have to go through certain steps. So it's very authentic there. So I love San Andres.
And how much flights? Because here in Southeast Asia, I can fly to any neighboring country round trip for less than 150 bucks. What are we talking about in terms of flights?
A round trip is about 80. Now you can pick your seat, you can get a backpack, the extra things that are going to cost more money, but I would say like a low flight would be, especially when they had Viva, it was like $30. You could
Okay.
get to where you were going.
Was it the Spirit Airlines though, or the air? Because no, I'll pay the
Yeah,
money. But
it
it's
was
nice
a
to know.
45-minute flight, so it wasn't too bad. But
Okay,
But
okay.
they
I'm
were
sorry.
nice. But yes, it was definitely the Spirit. But it's not Viva's not around.
Okay.
Viva's not
they're
around
not
anymore,
there
so
no
it's
more.
okay. You
I'll
guys
do
are
a
good.
budget carrier, but I swear to you, I to this day I have never taken Spirit or Frontier, and that ain't even, that's just those are just the facts. Because it's
Yeah.
not even about the service. Well, it is about the service. I don't even care so much about the inconvenience of it, but it's the service. If you're gonna be late and all inconsiderate, I'd rather pay the money. All right,
Mhm.
Kimberly, where are you hanging out on the weekends?
I try to be outside of where the action is happening. So on the weekends, I'm usually at the plaza near my house at a coffee shop, watching life and watching when just the daily beings. Might go to a soccer game and hang out and listen to the music and, watch all the soccer games that are happening. I love a good park. Parque del Rio is one of my favorite parks, and it's just a lot of stuff. There's skating and yoga and just all sorts of stuff like that. My absolute favorite park here is Parque RV, and Parque RV is almost like a conservatory type place, but it's like a whole world in there, and you can really see the flora and the fauna of Medellin. And they have butterflies with transparent wings, and hydrangeas are growing all over the place. Like it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But my favorite weekend activity is to frolic. I just get out and start walking and explore and see what I see and just appreciate the normally how people would consider the mundane things of life. That's what I enjoy, is just seeing the everyday life happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
One
I'm
thing
glad
you
you
like.
said that. The park do be popping. I don't even think they have like an open container law because you can literally just go get you a beer or a Coca-Cola 2 liter. They always have those in the little cups, and you sit down and you just enjoy the park.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And there are
that's
different, there are a lot of places, like for instance at the one of the modern art museum, as well as another place that's near the botanical gardens. They'll show movies on the weekends. So everybody kind of gathers during the day, and it's all sorts of stuff. Kids playing soccer, it's rap battles, it's bands, it's just all kind of stuff going on. And then once the sun sets, they play a movie. So everybody sits down on a blanket and they watch the movie. So stuff like that is more my vibe.
Mhm.
one money saving tip. If you're coming to Colombia, how can we save a few coins?
Get you a Colombian friend, speak Spanish, be open, ask questions, ask for what you want and need, and they either gonna give it to you or you go to the next person. That's it.
Making friends, making friends is always at the top of the
Get
list.
you a
You
friend,
need to connect
okay?
with a local. Come on, we all
Yeah.
know that. That's at the top of the
Mhm.
list. You need a friend. You need a
Yeah.
local friend.
And don't compare the prices. Like you would say, oh, I went to McDonald's, it's $15. And then I went to like Olivia, it was $15. Like that's a lot of money here. I think like the average pay is like $5 an hour. So
Hmm.
I would say like just to rein it in and to think more like as a Colombian, to just lower that, um not always say, okay, it's 4,000 pesos. Well, what is 4,000? If you have 4,000, you can get a lunch. So if you have $3, $4, you can get a lunch. But in the US, that's really not possible. So I would
Hmm.
say like just to adjust the prices to where you are.
That's
I
just good,
agree with
excellent
those.
advice.
Mhm.
Period. Kimberly, how else can any other things we can do to save some money?
I think this is what C-Temp said earlier, kind of, is don't be afraid to ask. I hate to barter. I'm sorry, not barter. What you call it? Negotiate.
Negotiate.
Like it's not something. What is? How much does it cost? and let me pay it. But especially when it comes to where you're living and like all that, don't be afraid to just say, this is what I have, and this is what I would like to offer, and be ready to walk away, but also knowing that they probably gonna call you back, because especially when it comes
Mhm.
to stuff like living and big ticket items, they would rather have someone there consistently taking care of things as opposed to trying to figure it out. So know what you want, and be willing to say that, but also be honest with yourself about where your limits are, right? Do not come here, this what I want, this my last, and then the week ago. Don't come over here trying to ball out and live like a king or queen on these people's dime and backs. Don't do that, okay?
Mhm.
Because that is how you wind up in a situation where you are paying $4,500 a month for rent, where you
Mhm.
are spending the same type of money that you would be spending in the US because you out whining and dining and trying to be out here, right? Um, this is life here. This is not a place to come and consume. So when you're coming, come to see life and come to honor the way that they do life here.
Mhm.
One thing you ladies wish you had brought with you when you came, before you came.
Seasonings, more seasonings.
From New
Linen,
Orleans.
good linen. Oh my gosh. If you like
Oh,
cotton, you're gonna need to bring it with you because they're polyester or it's really like thin or cheap. Um, so I would go with that. Just good sheets,
okay.
good towels.
All right. Yeah, I found that in Mexico too. Finally,
Oh,
one.
washcloths. Bring washcloths. They don't be using washcloths. So if you need a washcloth, bring them with you, because it's
Mhm.
gonna be hell trying to find them. Okay.
Mhm.
Ooh, okay, so stock up on good linens. I'm a linen girl. Sorry, I'm gonna have a whole
Mhm.
suitcase of linen, so I can leave some of my hair care products and pack my linens. Say less.
Yeah.
And finally, if anybody is getting ready to go to Colombia, thinking about spending some time, are there any useful apps that you would suggest that they download before they get there?
Google Translate, which is a given. Rappi is the Uber Eats of Colombia, so you want to have that, as well as Didi is another rideshare app. InDriver is another rideshare app that people use. Um, what else you think, Sita?
Those are mostly it. And I would say when you do your maps and your translate, there is an option to download, and you definitely want to download the language or the map because you may not always, they're pretty free with their Wi-Fi. Like if you get into a restaurant, they'll give you the password, no problem. But you want to download it in case you don't have coverage. But that's it. Rappi got all my money. So I would be careful with Rappi. I would not just go freely with them, but Rappy was a big deal for me.
Okay, one question, and then we're gonna wrap it up, ladies, because we're really going into our second hour. How costly? Somebody, Lenora wants to know how costly is it to have things shipped to
Very,
Colombia?
very.
Very.
Import
Mm-mm.
fees, it's a lot. You can do Amazon if you, but to have things shipped from the US to Colombia, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it, Miss Silly. Listen, because stuff get tied up in customs, and then you got to find somebody to help you translate, and like it ain't worth it. It ain't
Mhm.
worth it. Leave it. You don't need it.
Yeah. So a lot of people like their furniture. I had my furniture made. I had like a big sectional in my favorite color. It was $400. I had a mirror made from scratch. It was about $50. So it's very easy to get things like custom made here, even clothes, shoes. Like that's a big deal here in Colombia. A way to save money. And one time I did order something from Amazon. It was $150, and when I tell you that man did not give me that box until I paid the VAT and the shipping and the all that money, it was like $60 extra that I had to pay.
You have,
So
it's only, you can only, I think it's like if you go over
yeah.
it's around somewhere around that $100 mark that it starts
Hmm.
being import fees. So
Right.
you might have to break up your orders so that you are not paying, because they are
Hmm.
astronomical. It's probably going to be about
Yeah.
the same amount as whatever it is that you're buying.
Yeah. It's not worth it. I mean, it depends. If it's your medicine, you gotta get it. But if it's like something you can wait to restock on, or somebody can bring it to you, definitely do that. Don't ship iPhones. Do not ship electronics to you, because they are going to wax you if it just doesn't come up missing. So I would say just be very careful.
Wow. All right, ladies, I think we did our thing here tonight. I can't think of anything else. So what I'm going to do, circle back. Could you please share your social media contacts, any projects that you're working on, anything that you want people to know, how to get in touch with you? I'll start with Canissia, and then Kimberly, you could take us home.
Yeah, I am. All my social media is either non-existent or private, so you can definitely hit me up on the Trading Niji, or what was the other one? That's pretty much it. The Trading
Yeah.
Niji, or I put my guide to Colombia after so many years there. These are my favorite places, and like cultural norms that you'll see there. I just try to put a bunch of nuggets into that guide so that you can get it in one place very quickly. So the top 5 cities in Colombia.
And I also put your trading Discord. If you guys don't know, C-Temp also teaches trading, a beginning trading class and an advanced strategy, credit spreads. She also has a trading Discord. And when I tell you she's a consistently profitable trader, everybody can't say that. My sister can say that she's done it for over a decade. And so if you're interested, another stream of income, I'm telling you, get with her, sign up for her class, meet her in the Discord, and sit for a little bit and see if it's something there that you might be interested in terms of starting another stream of income, investing and trading. And of course, we do investing over at From Lack to Legacy, so meet us there. Kimberlyn, take us away, sweet.
So, you all can find me at Minding My Black Ass Business on all platforms. You can also find me at KimberlandJackson.com. My website is currently under construction as I am figuring out what this new life looks like for myself. But you can find a little bit there about what my life used to look like, and kind of where I feel like I'm headed right now. I'm also going to be hosting another Discover Your Destiny course that is going to be starting in October. So that is the intro course. And if you're looking to be a life coach and you're looking for how to get started, you start with Discover Your Destiny, and you can find out about that on KimberlandJackson.com. I am also giving a discount code for anyone who is watching this. So if you use the code From Lack to Legacy, you will save 15%, whether that is on a consultation or whether that is actually on the coaching services. I also have some podcasts, y'all. So I have a podcast called Heal That Shit with my best friend, where we talk about all the crazy things that are happening in our life right now in this journey that we're on to healing, and we have those conversations out loud. And I also have a podcast called So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese with my cousin, and that is a podcast where we talk about things that we thought were normal in our family, but it was actually the family recipe for dysfunction, and we're unpacking all of that. So you can find that again at mindingmybblackassbusiness.com. Please subscribe to my page, y'all. I'm on the way to 1,000 subscribers. I'm at like 630 something or something. So everybody matters. Okay. So come over there, hang out with me. It's blogs, it's all kind of stuff. I also have a Patreon where you can get behind the scenes access to some of these like dating conversations and all that kind of stuff that we was talking about. So please do Minding My Black Ass Business and KimberlandJackson.com.
Ladies, thank you all so much for joining me. I tell you, it's been a time, baby. It's been a hoot. It's been a holler. And I hope this isn't the last time we do it, y'all. We got to get together. Kimberly, I got to come over there with you over on the podcast, girl, so we can talk trash about the dating. Once I get to Colombia, we're going to have plenty to talk about. Plenty, plenty, plenty. So everybody that's here, please go over, see the ladies on their social medias, check out their YouTube channels. Please subscribe, please share. I'm just going to roll through like we always do. We have so many content creators that come over and share. They share our channel, and so I want to do the same for them. And I'll just start really quickly. It will not take long, but I know I saw Let's Talk About It with Mara. If you want to hear some frank talk, about healing, get over there and see Mara. I know I saw Yvette Boone of Yvette Boone Creates in the chat. Yvette is our resident plant whisperer. That's my sister. That's my partner in crime. So get over there, check out her channel. I saw HND. I think D was in the chat from HND Abroad. Check her out. They do a lot of talk about relocating and moving abroad in terms of a family or if you're married. So you want to get over there and check out her content. Natural Ally D, that's my holistic sister. When I tell you she knows all the oils and all the essentials and all the natural herbs, I am telling you, we are trying to help you elevate your life and live a better life. Check her out. She's on Instagram. I think the same is Natural Ally D. I'm not sure if Know Before You Go is a channel, but I keep telling her she needs to be a channel because that is a channel name. Know Before You Grow. Know Before You Go. We saw Kevin from Melanin Man Travels in the chat. We saw Living My Dream Trading. That's my trading brother from way back in the day. When I tell you, we go way back, way back. And I can't think if I think that was everybody. If there's anybody I missed, Marilyn, can you catch me before we get out of here? I don't want to miss anybody. And if I did, charge it to my head. You all know, never, never, never my heart. I'm just scrolling through. I think I got everybody. Jolly Juice LLC. See, I know that's a business, but I don't know who that is. I need your names. See, I screen names and real names, y'all. Come on, help a sister out. So I'm not sure how you even get in touch with Jolly Juice, but there you go. Who else? That's the first time I think I've seen you in the chat. Oh, Mimi is here. Voyager Collective. That's my sister. I tell you, check it out. Y'all want to talk about a young content creator, world traveler extraordinaire? Mimi's content is top tier, restful. You're going to get a mix of everything, and she's a world traveler. Please check Mimi out. And I'm pretty sure I got everybody. Did I miss anybody? Y'all see anybody I should shout out before we get out of here? I think that's it. My sister will let me know if I missed anybody. So we got Mimi. I think that's it, everybody. All right. I want to thank you again for joining us on from Lack to Legacy here at Minding My Own Business. Or what are we doing, y'all? I'm so spent. What are we doing? We can edit that out. Girl, bye. What am I
Thank you
doing?
all so much. Thank you,
What am I
Sondra,
doing?
Kimberland,
I don't even know
the
what I'm
ladies in
doing.
the chat.
This has been awesome. A really good
Yeah,
time.
me
I hope
too.
y'all come over to my world, please. Come
Yeah,
hang
they
out with
will.
me.
All
Mhm.
right, y'all. We will talk to y'all. We'll do it again at the end of next month. Until then, peace and continued blessings. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
That's